Hello, Morris Baynett, Technical Director at EcoMaster with you once again, and today I want to talk about zoning of staircases. Recently I did do a video about two-storey homes and why I think that they're built upside down, and one way to kind of help that situation is to actually zone the upstairs and the downstairs at the staircase. So here we see a typical kind of two-storey home layout. Upstairs, all the bedrooms, downstairs, all the living areas. One thing you can see here actually is a really cavernous area, being kitchen, dining, living area in one space. And what happens with this, by the way, is particularly if the heating comes out of jet outlets, which force it out at high velocity to try and get it to the floor level, is that it creates a lot of air movement. So when the heating is on, there's a lot of air movement in that space, and whenever there's high velocity air across your skin, even if it's warm air, it feels kind of cold. And so in these spaces, it's not uncommon for people to think that there's a draft happening somewhere, but it's only when the heating's on, okay, particularly around your ankles and that. But what would happen here, do you think? The heating that comes out the bottom, the ground floor, would come up the staircase here to the upper floor, and almost certainly the return air is going to be in this space here, because usually it's around the middle of the roof or in a hallway somewhere around the middle of the house. So I don't think that the heating downstairs is going to get much of a go at heating the occupants downstairs before it goes straight back up the staircase to the return air. And if you look down at the front of the house, it's kind of weird here. We've got the study and the theatre at the front, and they don't seem to have walls. So I don't know how we're going to go heating a study. What if you're at home on your own and you're just in the study and you just want to heat that room? It doesn't look like it's possible, does it? And a theatre, I don't know. I kind of think that theatres make a lot of noise. Why would you not have a wall in it there? It's kind of weird. Anyway, by the by. So how might we zone the downstairs from the upstairs? Well, I think it looks like the only pinch point in the staircase, I think, is at the bottom here, between the garage wall and this cupboard wall here. And what might we use there? I suspect that it's probably going to lend itself to a heavy drape. So a track on the ceiling there across the top of the staircase and a heavy drape, maybe not quite to the floor, so that there's a little bit of a gap at the bottom. Why is that? Because the heating here does have to go up the stairs to the return air, but what we want actually is we want the coolest air that's all sitting on the floor to be the one that goes up the stairs. So if we leave a little gap at the bottom of the drape, then the coldest air is going to go up under there to the return air, and we're going to get the maximum amount of heating down here before the heat actually goes back up the stairs as well. Likewise, when we're cooling upstairs, it's going to throttle the amount of cold that goes down the stairs and actually finds its way down to the ground floor. So I think that would be the result. The best idea here is a heavy drape across the bottom of the stairs. It's pretty easy to push past. I think it's probably the way to go with this one. Let's take a look at another floor plan. So here's another home. We're looking at the upstairs. There's lots of bedrooms, and we can see a little bit of the downstairs because there's this void next to the staircase, and there's another void here. So the living area's under here. We can just imagine that when we're heating the downstairs, a lot of that heat's going to find its way straight up this void and up the staircase. At the top of the void is a glazed roof, so maximum heat loss through the glazing there. But the rest of the heat's going to come up the stairs and into the return air, which almost certainly is going to be somewhere in this hall that we see here. So how might we limit that? I'm thinking that probably the way to do it, there's not really much scope for limiting it downstairs, but here probably we could organise a cavity slider across the top of the stairs, and that's potentially a way to zone these stairs. So you can see that most often there is a way to zone staircases. Sometimes it's not very easy, sometimes it's not very aesthetic, but I do think that it's a worthwhile endeavour in order to make these two-storey homes work a bit better. There you have it. I hope that's been helpful. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon.